How you doing?
Doing good.
All right, now we'll go right into questions for offensive coordinator Josh Gattis.
Josh, are you able to share with us who has earned playing time at wide receiver based on the past 5 weeks?
I think that's still a process right there. We're excited about the opportunity we got this week, and got a tremendous challenge. And that challenge starts with us just focusing on execution. And I think you're going to see a number of guys out there that are going to have opportunities to contribute to us in our pass game, tight ends, receivers, running backs, all included. But the biggest focus point, regardless of the who, it's the how we do things. And it's about focusing on all the details, playing as perfect as possible, and executing at a very high level, so we can create some success for ourselves in the passing game.
Josh, will you call games from the press box, or will you be on the field?
I'll be in the press box, and so that's a transition I made over the past 2 years that really feel comfortable, allows me to being able to see. And I've got great coaches on my staff that are able to communicate with the players on the field, and we're able to get those adjustments down in game. And so a big point of emphasis is having as many coaches on the field to allow them to coach their players during the game to get that immediate feedback. And so you'll see our staff very active throughout the game, really coaching and developing our players while the game is still going.
What is the difference between the two for a coordinator, and why do you prefer to be upstairs?
When I first started coordinating, I thought I saw everything great from the field, but it's amazing what you see from up top. And it allows you really two things. One, obviously, to be able to see what an opposing defense is trying to do to you. But it also allows you that peace and calm, quietness up there where in between series where you're able to collect your thoughts, go through your self-scout, look at your notes, tendencies, and things like that, and not get caught up in the emotions of the game. I think one of the toughest things about calling games from the sideline is you get into the emotions. Now, the positive from calling from the sideline is you're able to impact your players. They're able to look you in the eye. You're able to look them in the eye. You get a feel for the game at a greater level than you do in the box. But in the box, it allows you to really be able to get adjustments made and be able to see everything happening.
What's your experience been working with Tyler Van Dyke, and how quickly did he embrace the new offense?
Oh, my experience has been great. I love Tyler, just like I do all of our offensive players. But, he's just a mature guy, just takes a very serious approach each and every day to his craft, and very, very coachable. And that's the thing I love about Tyler is, you tell him one thing one time, you don't have to tell it to him twice. And, he's very passionate about developing. And one of the biggest challenges that we've had for him is just creating that, that rapport with everyone in the room, the receivers, the tight ends, bringing those guys along. And he's really embraced that this camp and trying to be that ultimate leader for our offense.
Same question for Jake Garcia.
Yeah, Jake's awesome. Jake's a guy that doesn't get rattled. He really, takes coaching extremely well. He's got a skill set on him, and he's a guy that, Jake goes out and competes every day as for waiting for his opportunity, and that's what you want out of your quarterbacks. You don't want quarterbacks to look at it saying I'm a 1, I'm a 2, or I'm not going to play. You want all your quarterbacks to be preparing as if they're the starters, and that's what those guys have done and done it at a really good level, and so that gives your play caller extreme confidence in all your quarterbacks when they prepare at that level.
How's preparing for week 1 under Mario Cristobal compared to working with Jim Harbaugh and other coaches you've worked with?
Well, week 1 is week 1. So football is football, right? The preparation. But the thing that I'll say about Coach Cristobal is one of the things that's really been impactful for me since working for him is his drive and inspiration. He's very detailed as far as daily plan, weekly plan, and really drives the culture of not only the program but of the coaching staff. And so I've been able to learn so much in just a very short time under him and his direction and leadership. And it's been tremendous. You see everything that he wants to establish for this team laid out in front of this team, and it's a clear and concise process, and one that has not only helped reshape our football team but also shape the coaches on our staff.
Coach, with some of the running backs injured, how does that affect the game plan?
Well, it just makes the next man have to prepare and be ready. What we do is what we do offensively, and obviously we've got some challenges in that running back room. But the guys that we do have healthy, we feel great about them. So now it's about knocking on wood and just trying to remain healthy as possible throughout the season, because it is a long season. We're just starting off in week 1, but right now we're excited about the guys. I think Henry Parrish is going to have an opportunity to really kind of establish himself, and he's a guy that has had some success last year at Ole Miss. We're very, very fortunate to have him because I think the world of him. He's a really talented player. And then, Thad Franklin and Jalen Knight and guys like that. Jalen Knighton's a guy that everyone knows his ability, how explosive he is, and the big playability he has. And I think he's going to have a great season for us. But it's also going to force guys like that to really step their game up and be the next man in there ready. And so, we always do everything by committee, and we're going to continue to push and develop each and every player that we got on our roster and prepare those guys for when their number is called, that they step up in those situations.
Josh attracted you to working with Mario in the first place? What attracted you to the Miami United?
Well, first, it was the vision that Coach Cristobal had for this program. At the current situation that I was in, I wasn't looking to leave anywhere. It had to be the right situation. And being part of the right situation, you had to have all the right circumstances. You had to have the commitment, financially from, support, commitment from administration. You needed to have a vision that could lay out success. And one of the things that I've taken tremendous pride throughout my career is being part of championship teams. And I could see the championship type vision that Coach Cristobal had for the University of Miami. And it's easier sold when it's your alma mater. It's your place that you've had blood, sweat, and tears all over, in a place that you know so well. But you could tell and you can sense the urgency that he had to bring this program back to the days of when he knew it. And so that kind of lit a fire in me. And also being a former ACC guy, playing my college ball at Wake Forest, I know too much about this program. I've told my past. I've played in the old Orange Bowl, having to come down here and play the University of Miami when it was rolling. And I knew how special of a program it was then. And so for me, it was about a challenge. In life, I don't think you can ever be afraid of challenges. And for some may see as a challenge, but for us as a staff, we see this as an unbelievable opportunity to bring Miami back.
Hey Josh, obviously I know you guys can have a lot of different combinations on the offensive line, but just reviewing camp, who were maybe the most consistent guys that showed up every day and did what they were supposed to?
Well, Coach Mirabal's done a great job with that group because I'll tell you, based on our depth and overall numbers, I think every guy has played every position. And so we've had to kind of move them around. But, this is one of those weeks where we're looking forward to kind of settling in on a starting five. And it all starts with the consistency of just having the same five out there each and every week. And obviously, big piece of that is our health. And so being able to protect those guys. But, we've had some really good guys have some really good training camps. Obviously starts with DJ Scaife, who's a guy that, I was just watching the 2019 Miami Bethune-Cookman game, and I'm looking out there, and Ja'Kai Clark's out there on the field, DJ Scaife's on the field, Will Mallory's on the field. So we've got some veteran guys when you look at it offensively that have been battle-tested, that have played a lot of football. But then, I'll tell you, the thing I'm probably most excited about is getting guys like Jalen Rivers back healthy, being able to throw him back into the mix of the offensive line. John Campbell, those two guys we didn't have in the spring. And so this fall has been really a new introduction for me to getting the chance to know those players and their skill set and what they do very best.
Josh, a lot of players mentioned the creativity within your rushing offense. I guess how have the players, in your eyes, really meshed with the system they're trying to implement?
Well, there's a game book and there's a playbook, right? Each week we design a game plan to attack our opposing team. But the ultimate thing that I always challenge our guys is understand our playbook. And what we mean by that is the weaknesses and strengths of plays, the intent of plays, and our ability to be creative in designing those plays. And they've really embraced it. And I think, I can't stand before you here today and say it without saying that we've got great teachers and our assistant coaches. I truly believe this is an amazing offensive coaching staff that we've got. They've embraced learning this system. They've taught this system at a very, very high level. And so my hat's off to the assistant coaches for preparing these guys, and then our players for just embracing it. They, the thing that you notice about our players in our program is they want to be coached. They want to be pushed. It's not always easy, but they truly do deep believe down inside that it's for the best of them. And so when you've got a group of guys that are driven like that and internally motivated, you're going to be able to push them externally to the limits that you can. And so that's one of the things that we try to do offensively is just try to grow, not only our concepts and our skill sets, but really grow our identity of our offense by what our players do best.
Josh, are you able to talk about Keyshawn Smith and how he's looked. Obviously, a guy who's trying to keep a starting job from a year ago.
Yeah, Keyshawn Smith is he's had a really good camp, and the thing for Keyshawn, I think, is his camp is steadily improving. I think he's gaining confidence. He's a guy that we've asked him, based on our depth at receiver, to kind of move around and play multiple different positions. But I think lately he's been able to settle in at one position, and now you're starting to see that success grow. And really, the last 14 days for us has been about us focusing on building confidence and execution. And so he had a really, really good practice the other day, and really you started to, the air should smell a little bit different. Everything should feel a little bit different. And you see the anxiety leading up to, game one, that the execution is at a higher level. And so really, really pleased with Keyshawn and the rest of the group of receivers. And just, for now, it's about consistency. It's about practicing at a very high level, so Saturday when we go out, we can perform at a high level.
Josh, Tyler said a couple weeks ago that when he studies film from last year, he doesn't study the stuff that went great. He studies what he did wrong. How critical is that when a guy's trying to go from good to great or great to elite or whatever the case is, that he's not looking at the highlights, he's not looking at the highlight reel stuff, he's looking at, he's got to be really critical and honest with himself. How important is that?
Yeah, I think that speaks for his humble approach. We can't all get caught up in the positives, and now obviously there's things to learn from positives. Positive plays obviously reinforce confidence in your ability in what you do, but also being able to learn through the mistakes. And I think for Tyler, I think last year just came fast. When you really look at it, he's a guy that started out his year thinking he was a number 2 quarterback, and then gets thrust into a starting situation midway through the year. And so each game, each experience was totally new for him. One of the things about being a quarterback is you never really know what you have in a quarterback till you get game reps. And so for him, he didn't get a chance to have that oh wow moment where he could step back, take a breather each week, and kind of sit back on his accomplishments. He had to continue to move himself forward each and every week with different challenges. And so the next step for him is being able to carry over that confidence from being a first-year starter to now being a second-year returning in college football. Now you're considered a veteran, and so guys don't normally stay 4 or 5 years. So now once you've played 1 year football, you've really got to be that voice in the room that becomes the leader of a unit. And so, I think that's a great attribute of Tyler, is just how humble he is, and he truly has the respect and beliefs of all his teammates around him.
Coach, you talked about the adjustment Frank made in the spring with the transition. What did you see in fall camp?
Yeah, Frank Latson, he's done a great job, just kind of pushing himself. And, there's been some good battles out here. And one of the things that really allows us to develop as a receiving corps is really kind of the iron sharpens iron approach that we take in the competitive nature of how we do things, and going against our defensive backs, every day have really made our receivers better. It's made our passing game better. It's made our quarterbacks better. But Frank exclusively, that's made them better, being able to challenge against, some of the DBs that we have, and really going, against those guys at a high level. But now for Frank, it's a guy that, Frank is coming in. Now it's about building and establishing that confidence. He played a lot as a true freshman at the previous institution he was at, kind of had some time off or time not out on the field in the last year. And so now it's about getting that confidence back, getting into that rhythm, of being someone that we're going to lean on to make a ton of plays. And the biggest thing for us as a staff and telling Frank is, you got to now build that confidence back into yourself, that belief that, we believe in Frank, that he's going to make a ton of big plays for us, and we want him to be able to go carry that same belief out there in himself on the field.
Josh, the tight last one. Thank you. The tight ends room, since I haven't touched on that, how many of those guys are you comfortable playing, and where does Jaleel Skinner fit in as a freshman?
Well, we've got a really good room, and obviously when you look at it, getting Will Mallory back, that's another piece that we didn't have in the spring, and so we've been excited. We've obviously been a little bit cautious this fall, kind of getting him back into the swing of things. But he's a big time player. He's a guy that we're going to look forward to and lean on in a lot of critical situations because of the type of player that he is. Elijah Arroyo has had a really good camp, and I think Elijah has probably kind of developed himself the most in that room of trying to be a complete tight end, and really really taking the improvement, that Coach Field has been, established with them. Even Coach Cristobal has been working with the tight ends of really developing those guys in the run game and getting them really active and hands-on in that approach. And so, it's always helps because Coach Cristobal's background initially started here at Miami coaching tight ends. And so that's one that he's very passionate about in that room. But then Dom has had a great camp. He's also stepped up, made some really big plays. And Jaleel Skinner, obviously having him in that mix as well. And so we've got Khalil Brantley. So we're really looking at 5 deep as far as players that could go out and contribute for us. But when we talk about, who's at the top of that group, obviously Will Mallory, Elijah Arroyo, those 2 guys are going to, who we hang our hat on for the most part. And we're looking forward to the other guys really establishing themselves in that rotation as well.
Great. Thank you very much, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.